Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Brain Wellness, the podcast. Today, I have Tami Hubert with me. Tami is a functional wellness practitioner who believes that everyone is meant to feel amazing. By taking a natural approach with individualized care plan that includes testing, use of herbs and supplements, and educating on lifestyle, Tami is able to help her clients improve their health so that they can take control of their lives. Getting down to the core of the health concerns is the main focus, along with inspiring them to live healthier lives. With over a decade of experience working as a certified nurse practitioner with patients in acute care and seeing patients with acute illness, chronic conditions, and mental health concerns, it became abundantly clear that something had to change. These patients were taking medications to help their symptoms, but through her encounters with them, she kept asking herself, why are they experiencing these symptoms, since the body is meant to heal and not be in constant turmoil that needs to be fixed with a medication? The answer always came back to inflammation, but the reason for the inflammation became the question, and that is why individualized testing through core health and wellness is important. Welcome, Tami.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I always start with my first question, just kind of finding out, what's your story? Why does brain health and functional health interest you?
Yeah. So from my intro, you got a little bit of information there.
Yeah.
But it really comes back to how the brain is incorporated through the whole body. I mean, in a sense, all your body parts work together. And so it's not just your brain that's important, but it's your nervous system and it's your gastrointestinal system, it's the cardiovascular system, endocrine, reproductive, all of that really plays together. And a good analogy is watches. If you take a watch and you look at all the gears of the watch, if one gear is not working right, nothing else in that watch can work appropriately or function in the right way. And so the same thing with our body. If our brain is not functioning correctly, other parts of our system or body systems are not working well either. So, the brain has a huge impact on all of that, just as, the gut and the brain connection, which I know had been discussed, I think, on previous podcasts of yours too, is so important. And so I just feel that it's looking at the whole body, really. And then when you incorporate like the brain into that, the brain, the nervous system basically connects to every other part of your body.
Mm-hmm.
It's important.
Yeah, if you look at the diagrams of like where the brain and the nerves go, you literally can see an outline of a person because those nerves stretch out from the brain and go everywhere. So there's literally not a place in the body that's not touched by the brain.
Correct.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Very cool. What got you into functional health?
Oh, the why, it's like I see these people that are say they're obese, and it's like, why? I mean, then you see this other person that's not, and a lot of it is their lifestyle. And when I started learning more about that, I was tired of just getting medications like, oh, here's a weight loss drug, or here's a medication for this. And we really have to come down to why is this happening to the specific person, and what can we do about it? And the medical model was just, here's a medication, here's a medication, here's a medication. And I've always wanted to really help, quote unquote, fix the problem and not just cover it up in a sense. And so I started learning more about functional health and how that is really getting to the root cause of what is going on and how you can better fix that in a sense. And the philosophy that I use within my business model is that it's more of a chiropractic model in a sense, and that the body, we should be able to function at 100%, right? Your body is meant to be amazing. It's meant to function to the best of its ability. Now, in the medical model, when you look at disease, it's really a symptomology of things. And so certain diseases, say diabetes, is really a lot of different symptoms that create this disease, right? And when you look at more the chiropractic model, it's more dis-ease, where it's a lack of functioning within the body. And so the body isn't functioning the way it's supposed to. And if that happens too long, then you develop this disease diagnosis, right?
Yep.
And so our approach is to really look at what is causing problems. And we think about we call it the 3 T's, but it's really your thoughts. So again, your brain comes in a huge factor there. Traumas. So anywhere from breaking bones to accidents to just even people text with their neck down, you get that subluxation, it's called in chiropractic.
Yeah.
That's could be a trauma in a sense. And then also thoughts, traumas, and toxins. So anything we're putting in or on our body or exposed to in the environment can impact your body. And so any 3 of those things can create inflammation, which then puts our bodies into this dis-ease, and we can't function the way we're supposed to. So
yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's just intriguing.
It certainly is. I got introduced to functional medicine about 3 years ago when I was having my own autoimmune issues. And it was mind blowing because after being in Western medicine for so long, it's like, oh, there are other options and we don't have to put Band-Aids on things. So it's been a really exciting thing to learn more about that myself too. So I love that you're doing this.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yep.
It's been exciting. So.
Yeah. Yep. So based on your experience and all the things that you've learned, what do you do in your own life to improve your brain health?
So kind of what I talked about. Now I'm learning more about the thoughts, the traumas, and the toxins. I bring that in. And so thoughts, a thing about thoughts is that negativity has a huge impact on your health, right? And negative thoughts is a huge thing for a lot of people. And that will spiral. It's almost like a positive feedback loop. The more it's that negative thought and the more you have, the more it occurs. It's just continuous, right? There's just a constant turmoil with that. And so just doing simple things like having gratitude journal and being able to stop that negative thought and produce that positive thought, or just having those words in my frame that, you know what, it's going to be a good day. Waking up first thing in the morning, it's going to be a good day. I'm going to make it a good day because if I make it a good day, it's going to be a good day, right? So that's that thought, and just having that positive thought at waking up in the morning, running out of bed, it's going to be good. And so keeping that in mind. Also foods, we eat as best as we can. The clean 15, dirty dozen. I don't know if you've heard of that, but it's in regards to organic foods. And so we do the best we can with that. The dirty dozen, we try to stay away from those that are pesticide ridden, eat more organic with that, grass-fed meats. We try to use local farmers, things like that. Eat good, healthy fats, because that's important for the brain. The brain is 60% fat, and so you need that as well. And then just products that we use in and around the house. And so trying to find natural cleaning agents or toothpaste that's natural, even soaps, shampoos, lotions, whatever we put on our body. We try to do more natural versus the stuff that have the SLS in it and some of that other products that can cause neuroendocrine disruptors in a sense. So
yeah, that's a good idea.
That's what I do specifically.
Yeah, good. Some people think about the things that we put into our body and don't really think about the things we put on our body, but it gets absorbed through the skin too. Our skin is our biggest organ in our body. And
Exactly.
people don't often think about that. It's absorbing things as we put them on there too. So good call with that. I love the gratitude idea. I forget which author it was that I had read that when they took a step out of their bed in the morning, with every step, they would be thankful for something else. And by the time they got to the bathroom, it was a whole positive attitude. So it goes a long way. It goes a long way.
Yeah. And just a lot of people put things on their mirror. So that when they wake up, they'll put something on the mirror so that that's the first thing they read in the morning is that.
Yep. And a couple episodes ago, we talked about mindset, and a lot of it was what you put out into the universe. It's going to come right back to you. So if you're constantly thinking negative thoughts, you're going to get more things negative to you. So
100%.
Same thing with positive. So I love that. Starting the day with gratitude. Perfect. So based on what you do, what are some things that you would recommend other people do? I'm assuming it's going to be pretty similar.
Pretty similar. The biggest takeaway I think of all this is just taking control of your brain starts with taking control of your body.
Mhm.
So, the more that you can take control of your health overall and do some of those things is really important. How can you change that lifestyle or incorporate these things into your lifestyle? And it's a huge thing for a lot of people. And
Mhm.
there's so many people not aware of some of this stuff that they're even using or eating or exposed to, because it's just a common thing. It's just out there. That's what we buy. And
Mhm.
it's hard to find that natural stuff,
It is.
and
Yeah.
people don't know. They're like, what does this label say? You look at an ingredient bottle of shampoo and it has so many things on it, and you're like, well, I don't know. It's got to be okay. They sell it, right? And
Right.
it's just not. It's really kind of sad, actually. So doing that, and again, just knowing, 60%, like I had said, of your brain is fat. Really, 60% is made of that fat, and so eating healthy fats. It's really tough when people are like on a low fat diet. I'm like,
Mhm.
no, so in
Yeah.
getting that good healthy fat, grass fed butter
Yeah.
is something great to cook with, or coconut oil, even cooking with it, avocado oil, because those all have high smoke points. So
Mhm.
those are good oils to cook with. Olive oil being a good oil to put in your salad or cold,
Mhm.
typically, and using those, even eating avocados. I mean, we
Mhm.
try to eat a little bit a day, actually. And
Mhm.
like the bulletproof coffee is, I mean, I swear, but I like that. I don't know. And if you drink coffee, it's an easy thing, right? It's
Yeah.
coconut oil, butter,
Yep.
and you could put like a protein powder or something in if you wanted to,
Make it like a
but
shake.
something like that, getting fat in your coffee.
Yeah.
Um, so those are big, I would say. One of the fats to stay away from more is the canola oil, because it can cause oxidative stress, which that will cause problems with inflammation, which we had talked about earlier, which can
Mhm.
cause problems in the whole body,
Mhm.
including the brain.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, those are the biggest things I would say. Again, the negative thoughts,
Mhm.
trying to avoid those. And one good way of doing that is when you're in that negative thought process and you're like stressed out or just negativity there, um, counting backwards by 5. So five,
Mhm.
four, three, two, one, and then start thinking a positive thought, because you have to stop that cycle somehow,
Sure.
right? And by counting backwards, that helps re-engage the prefrontal cortex, which then can re-engage your thought process more into a positive thought. So, and start thinking positive things like, you know what, it depends on what you're thinking negative.
Right.
If you're thinking self-image negative, then you can start thinking, you know what, I am beautiful. I am intelligent.
Right.
I am worthy of this, and getting that
Mhm.
in there. So those are a couple of good things, I think.
Yeah. Yep. I think those are really good ones. I like the counting down. That's
Yep.
it's really hard sometimes when you are in that negative spiral to get yourself out of it. You've got to do something. So I like that idea of just kind of breaking
Yeah.
that negative thought process. It's a good one.
Yep.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And thanks for spelling out what those healthy fats are too. I was just going to say, you and I probably know what those are, but that's
Yeah.
not really a general population thing. You don't hear that on the commercials a lot. Every time I think of that, I think of the meme that's out there that the avocado says he's a healthy fat and
Yeah.
punches. I forget what he's punching, but yeah, there's something out there that's not a healthy fat on it.
Right.
So we don't always think about the healthy fats versus the fats. I think it was back in the 1980s when they started making changes and making everything low fat, and that was the whole big fad of do low fat because it's really good for you, but it doesn't actually satiate the body, and people actually eat
Right.
more things than too. And
Yeah.
when you take out the fat, you take out a lot of the flavor. So then
Mhm.
they're putting a lot of chemicals in the foods.
Yep.
So it's
Yep.
really a kind of a dangerous cycle with that.
Yeah.
Um, one of the textbooks I read a few years ago was talking about the healthy fats again too, trying to make sure you get
Mhm.
the good balance of the omega 3s and omega 6s.
Right.
And they actually did a research study with children, and they put out a plate of cheese and a plate of potato chips. And they looked to see which one the children went back to eat more of, and whether or not they would kind of stop themselves from overeating.
Yep.
And the potato chips, they just kept going back over and over and
Mhm.
over again because they weren't getting the nutrients that they wanted versus the plate of the cheese. The kids would go get their cheese, they'd get satisfied and they'd stop. So
Yeah. Interesting.
it's there that healthy
Yeah.
fats are helpful for so many
Right.
reasons.
Yep.
Um, Yeah. And
For
working in
sure.
neurology, I fight with cardiologists a lot because they want to get the cholesterol levels down as low as possible. I'm like, wait a minute, your brain actually needs some of that. So
Yes. Yeah, and that's a hard thing. And then in the functional health realm, you think, well, why do they have cholesterol problems, right?
yeah. Yep.
I mean, you need cholesterol because cholesterol is a building block of most of your hormones,
Yeah. Yep.
or all of your hormones, actually. I mean, it stems from cholesterol.
Mhm.
So your progesterone, your estrogen, your testosterone, all of that. So you need cholesterol
Yep.
to produce healthy hormones.
Yep.
So then we start dealing with hormone problems.
Very true.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Good point on that too. Very
yeah,
good. Yeah. So we kind of know what's happening now, and you're both of us are kind of getting more into the functional health world because
yeah.
that's kind of where we see things going. So kind of tagged on to that. Where do you see, or where would you like to see some changes in the future of brain health, especially as it pertains to functional health?
Yeah, I hope it goes more holistic. I,
Mhm.
I I think it will. I think people are starting to really understand that, you know what, some of these medications that we take are causing problems. We'll look at like omeprazole, what came out with the depression,
Mhm.
and how, again, the gut is tied to your brain. I mean, your happy hormones, serotonin, dopamine, a lot of these hormones are produced in the gut, the gastrointestinal system. And when you're messing with that, you're messing with hormones. So depression, anxiety, a lot of that is tied to that.
Mhm.
Is there a way that we can treat some of this stuff more naturally? And I think there is. I mean, it's really interesting. A couple of supplements, mushrooms actually, are really extract. Lion's mane is
Mhm.
one of them. And then the other one is turkey tail
Oh, I've
and
not heard that one.
mushroom. Yep. And so
Okay.
lion's mane actually does help with brain,
Mhm.
decreases inflammation of the brain. It's a good one like for concussions, doing lion's mane. It also has the growth factor, the nerve growth factor, and then it has the brain derived neurotropic factor, which help uh, form new and regenerate brain nerves and pathways. So neuroplasticity again,
Mhm.
important there. And so I really hope that it goes more that way and that people start understanding that, hey, these things have been around forever, but they're
Mhm.
really useful. I mean, and they don't, I mean, the side effects are minimal, really compared to what you get the drug for whatever it is, say, and it's just like 1,800 side effects and could cause death. And you're like, oh, should I take
Yep.
this? I mean,
Right.
and
Yeah.
even like dementia, it can help with dementia. It can help with depression, anxiety, the lion's mane,
Mhm.
ADHD, just so many things. And when you look at depression too, they had a lot of these meds they produced that they're even saying don't use them now
Mhm.
because one, they're not beneficial, and two, they're actually causing more harm
Right.
in the people with Alzheimer's and things. And it's like, okay, we got to find other ways. Um, the turkey tail is actually helps with anti-tumors, so cancer,
Mm.
and it
Very cool.
has been used like in Japan and Asia for over 30 years, and it has polysaccharides
That's
in
cool.
it that help. And if you look up like PSP and PSK, it's the specific ones, but it helps with tumors, and they use it in Japan for cancer, and
Hmm.
it's effective. So I'm hoping we go more in these ways, more natural, that
Yeah.
I think we can help people, and but yet still support the body so it's not causing other problems within the body, with some of these medications we take. So
Right. Yep. I know
it's
I personally am one of those people that's really sensitive to side effects. So it's anytime I can find something that's a little bit more of a natural, I'm always all for it. Um,
mm,
yeah. The big thing to be cautious with is as we do tell people to look more
mhm,
for the holistic things,
yeah,
the more the natural treatments, is to be careful because sometimes if they're taking a prescription medication, they don't
right,
always tell all their providers about which medications they're taking. So they need to make sure that they're telling their providers about prescription medications and all the herbal stuff they're taking because sometimes they might be taking two things that do the same.
yeah,
So
yeah, or
that's
interact in a way.
Yep,
Hmm.
yep. I found that out the hard way with a couple of patients who didn't say they were taking different herbs, but we were putting them on antiplatelet medications, either aspirin or
Sure.
Plavix, and oh, yeah,
Yep.
I'm also taking this herbal medication that also
Yep.
thins my blood out. we got to be careful with that because we don't want to
Right.
be a little overzealous with that.
Right, right. And getting the right ones,
Yeah.
knowing where you're getting them from, like the lion's mane, you should make sure it's grown on actual wood and it's done appropriately. And so really look into that. I mean, one that I recommend would be real mushroom. You can buy them online, but that is a organic, well-known
Mm-hmm.
producer that would be good. But yeah, you kind of have to be careful on where you get the stuff from too. So
Yeah,
working with someone that knows that I think is important as well.
absolutely.
Working with a provider that is, or a practitioner that's familiar with what are good ones, which one aren't potentially.
Right. Yeah. You want to make sure that you're getting it from a reputable source and that
Right.
it's a good quality
Yep.
supplement that you're doing. Absolutely.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, I hope it goes that way too, because I think
Yeah.
we need more of that, more of the natural stuff.
Yeah.
So tell us what you are up to these days, kind of professionally. What are you working on? What projects do you have in the way?
So the functional health or functional wellness, my business is Core Health and Wellness.
Mhm.
I work with a group of or a team of providers. We do it's more or less called the Cure V method, which chiropractor that I work with developed this method, and it's with the thoughts, traumas, and toxins,
Mhm.
and it's really just working on lifestyle
Mhm.
and individualized plans, testing things like that, and how we can help people where a lot of times they come in because the medical model hasn't been helpful. They're like,
Mhm.
I continue to have this, or I have these symptoms and they can't figure out what's going on. Like my thyroid's fine, apparently. But when you look at that, it's some of the tests that we do in the medical model are what your TSH, your T3
Mhm.
or T4 maybe, things like that. And it's very not thorough where we do more of a thorough look. I mean, we're going to look at a lot more than just your thyroid. You're going to look at the, blood sugar levels. We're going to look at autoimmune things, markers, all these different factors go into it. It's like 19 labs we look at to really play in what is going on
Mhm.
because it's not just your thyroid, right? Like we said,
Yeah.
everything is interacting. And so we look at, the nervous system is one of the most important parts of our body. Again, it connects your brain to the rest of your body. So it's really one of the most important things, but it's really hard to test the nervous system and how well it's working.
Mhm.
So our next step would be that second most important thing we feel is the gut, really the gut health and how that plays into all the other parts of your body. Because again, your hormones, so many things are cholesterol. All that is just incorporated in there. So looking at that, we do testing in various things, and then we have individualized plans. So according to what those results show, we work with someone, and it takes months, really.
Mhm.
It's not a quick fix, unfortunately and fortunately,
Mhm.
because at least I can be in contact with people every couple weeks, and I like that.
Yep.
It really helped them just understand. We work to explain things to them, like why is this occurring and what is really happening and how is it playing out in your body and what can you do to make things better,
Mhm.
you know so some people are great. They're like, I eat organic.
Mhm.
Okay, but what are you using for again on your body? You know, what do you, do you have past trauma? Do you have
Mhm.
PTSD? Do you have depression, anxiety, things going on from certain things? And a lot of those cases I refer. So I do work with other providers, a lot of mental health providers or mindset coaches, different things like that. And I like to have that connection because there's some uniqueness about that I can't always I can't be great at everything. And the mind is one of those things that is very important. And there's
Yeah.
certain things you can do with specific providers that will really help that.
Yep.
So yeah, I try to collaborate with them and refer people to certain providers there or practitioners there too.
Perfect.
So
Perfect.
yeah.
Do you see people face to face, online?
Oh yeah, online. It's all online video visits basically,
Okay.
so I can see anyone anywhere in the world, from any place really. And so, yeah, I have a patient or a client, more or less I call them, but in California. I have a couple here in Minnesota where we live. But yeah, pretty much anywhere I can see people.
That's really
So
cool. That
yeah,
is really cool.
it's good.
Yeah. And it's good to point to note that it does take time to fix.
Right.
When we're trying to look for the cause of what's going on, it's a lot of times these problems have been present for a long time.
Mhm.
It's not going to be an
Yeah,
overnight correction.
exactly.
So as we're trying to work through those things, it takes time to really sit down and look through somebody's past and figure out where
Mhm.
those three T's come into play.
Yep.
And then it
Yep.
takes time to get those things out of the body so you can get the good things in.
Right. Yeah, and
So
it's just balancing things,
mhm,
it takes a couple months to balance, like if the gut biome is unbalanced, it takes a couple months to balance that, and then it takes a couple months to just detox things. You might
mhm,
have heavy metals that we have to test. There's just so many variation there that, yeah, it takes, when you think about, like you said, if you're a 30-year-old person, it's been 30 years
mhm,
of potentially that lifestyle, or even even when you're in utero,
mhm,
what is your mother eating or doing affects you.
mhm,
So yeah, it can take months, really, to kids heal a lot quicker. And I
mhm.
do see kids too, and they
Yep.
tend to heal a lot quicker, but they haven't been exposed as much as we have to various things,
Yeah.
or had as much trauma on our bodies, so,
Yeah. Yep.
but yeah,
Very good points. Yeah.
yep,
And it's great to remind people too that everything is connected, like we talked about at the
yeah,
very beginning. In the Western medical model, we tend to think of things in silos. We have
right,
a neurologist like me. I'm focusing on
yep,
the neurological part of things, whereas I
mhm,
tend to focus bigger, but I'm not the usual neurology person. Our
mhm,
cardiologist focuses on the heart. Pulmonology focuses on the lungs. So we have all of these silos that nobody's really putting it all together.
yeah,
And I think when I went to my first appointment for functional health, it was fascinating how we literally covered every aspect of my life. And I'm like, okay, well, I feel like you know everything about me now.
mhm,
And it was really cool because when you do all that, you can really see the bigger picture of the client
right.
that you're working with and really kind of nail down where it is. Um, would you say that you're able to come up with an idea like right on the spot, or do you have to think about it for a little bit yourself too once you've met with somebody?
Yeah, I usually have them do the health intake.
Hmm.
I get that information, and then I thoroughly go through that and
Hmm.
then start to develop a little bit of a plan. So a lot of it is pre-prep work before I see them. And then I do meet with them for like about an hour, that initial visit, to really go over it's sleep and stress and past history, like, again, the traumas, any of that stuff, injuries, concussions, like, fascinating with concussions, there's bacteria in your gut that actually play into if you will have long-term concussive symptoms or not, and the level of that versus someone who maybe gets a concussion and they're fine in a day, but then you have someone that takes a year or two. That
Hmm.
gut biome plays a huge factor. And
Hmm.
so, yeah, I mean, I go through everything from past what's happened in the past, to what's happening currently, relationship status. I mean, that's stressors,
Hmm.
right? So, yeah, I try to get this thorough of a overall health history that I can, and then we go from there into, what's and I collaborate with them. It's really a
Hmm.
partnership,
Hmm.
because I can't it's not my job to fix you.
Right.
It's really us working together, figuring out, partnering, what's going to work best. This is my suggestion. What can you do as well to, to make things better? But I'm
Hmm.
going to help you through the process.
Hmm.
So that's a big thing too, is just that partnership,
Yeah.
so that they're really responsible, right? And I'm giving
Yep.
them the tools to get that the way, in the way that they want to feel or be or whatever. So,
Yeah. Yep. Very cool. I
yeah,
feel like by the time people start getting into the functional medicine realm, they're kind of fed up with what they've had and they're willing to try new things. Do you find that their motivation level is a little bit different than when you were doing the acute care?
yeah, for the most part, I would say and that's like one client I have. It's really, she was fed up with they're like, we're gonna put you on this and this and this and this med, and she's like, hold out, no, no, there's got to be a reason that I'm have these things, there's got to be a reason things are going on. And so then when we know each other kind of as friends too, but when we met, she's like, you do what? And so she was pretty excited to start something new, and she's like, hey, I'm game, let's do this, because I don't want I'm tired of feeling this way, and there's got to be something that we can do. And so, yeah, she's been very pleased
Mhm.
with everything that has happened over the last few months. Totally different person.
Cool.
So it's
That's
good.
that's pretty remarkable when they can have
Yeah.
that good recovery. You feel good as a practitioner too that you got to
Yeah.
help them along that way. Um,
Right.
but yeah, it's not up to us to do the fixing, and we can't do the fixing. They
No.
have to do the work themselves,
Yep.
but we can help them get there.
Yep.
So that's
Exactly.
awesome. Great work.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank
Um,
you.
yeah, yep. So I do want to be respectful of your time. Is there anything else that
Yeah.
you want to add before we kind of close up or anything?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Had a pretty
We're
good
good.
conversation.
Yeah,
Good
it
deal.
was.
Cool.
It was. Yeah.
Cool. So where can people find you if they want to learn more about functional medicine with you?
Yeah. So curevie.com is the main web page. So it's CUROVIE.com.
Okay.
And then on there, there's a list of various practitioners. And so mine is Core Health and Wellness. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, and my phone numbers are on there, but I can give you my phone number, business line, and then my email is just corehw@protonmail.com.
Cool.
And then my number is 320-428-0250. If you want to put it on the notes or whatever.
Okay. Yeah, I'll put them on the
Um,
notes. Okay.
yeah. So curevy.com will have various events on there. So if people are just interested in learning more about different things, we have topics like inflammation and thyroid, the GI, just various things like that. And they're about once a month, roughly, give or take. But yeah, go on there at some point, check out the events, and they're free to attend webinars. So if they
Awesome.
want to learn more just in general about various topics that we have, you can do that too.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah.
And good luck with building your business and getting more
Thank you.
clients in there. You're doing great work. So keep it up.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yep. You bet. Thank
Have
you
a good
so much.
night.
You too.
Yeah, you too. Bye.